All right, in this recording, we're going to look at the process that has to take place when a listing is not active in our new instance and before it was entered into the new instance, it sold. So it becomes a very complex process here. So I am looking at a property address 4317 Timber Ridge. And you see that this property has already moved to a pending status. But if I go here to our new instance, I see that the property is not there. I always will search not only by the property address, but by the street name just to make sure. So we have to start with adding this property to the platform. So step one is what we demonstrated in creating a new listing. Now, as you can see, this screen does not look exactly the same. So I'm going to drop in the property address. I have it there. I go to Let's Go. I double check to make sure it is court, and it is. And depending upon the state, you may see the property information pulled right from the MLS. This is the right listing. It is listed by this agent. It shows me that also here under Rashawn Boone. I say this is my agent. So even though it showed me who the agent was, I still need to select them. This is a Illinois listing for sale. It's an Illinois R listing sold. So therefore, if I'm creating the listing, it would be a listing for sale. I can look at the price, the sell price on this one is saying that it's $215. That's because the home sold for more than what it was originally listed at. I am going to allow the MLS to put in the 2049 because that is what is active in the MLS. Again, a little different situation here. As far as the listing commission, I cannot see it on this screen. I will need to click back over here, go to commission, and I see that I am at a 3% and a 2.5%. For the list is 3, 2.5 for the sell, and I go to next question. It's asking what is the listing date. It knows the listing date. It's pulled from the MLS. It is asking for the listing expiration date. And if I click back on transaction, I can see that the listing expiration date is 3/18. I'm sorry, 8/1 of 2022. I go to next question. It's asking for the seller's name. I see my seller is Danielle Edwards, Danielle Edwards. It's best if we copy and paste. And I have everything. I'm going to go to create my listing. Now, at this point, because this listing has already sold, where I get go in and verify my information is a little bit different. So I'm going to go over to contact, and my seller information. I'm going to look at Danielle and I'm going to say, oh, this agent added in an email address. I click on edit. I copy that in there. I have to click edit here, open it up, copy it in there. And I'm going to grab the phone, copy and paste. This actually can be done at the same time that the transaction is being processed, but I'm going to stay consistent with what I'm doing there. Okay, so Now, both screens don't look the same because this is an active listing. This is an active pending. I'm going to click submit here. And at this point, I need to get the documents, but it's not all the documents. All I need is the listing documents, which becomes tricky. So if I read the titles of these documents, I can see that this is an offer to purchase. This is a signed by both sellers sales contract. I know that these documents are for the listing. I prefer to send just my listing documents because if I try to send all as one, the file will be too large to do a data transfer. So I'm going to select those documents. You can generally go by the date in which it's uploaded as well. Normally it's not that quick of a sell, one day and it was sold. I'm going to copy that email address. I'm going to, of course, paste that into my Excel document so that I have it over there. And I'm going to go to email. Email address in. I'm going to say listing documents transferred. So all of this is the same as before. I'm going to email that over. And then at that point, I'm going to give it a little bit of time to catch up and accept those documents. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to assign my listing documents. All right, so they're there. I'm going to again look back and forth. The first one is the MLS printout. I have a radon. And again, I can hover over the paper clip. And I have two documents here, but only one is assigned, so only assign the one. All right, at this point, I'm going to go and look at my checklist and my checklist. Now, notice here that this is the sales documentation, but here it is the listing documentation. So I need to scroll down, go here. I'm going to just take a quick look at it. I'm going to match what they've done. And I can see here that, there it is, my next document. So the sequence over here is not always the sequence over here, and that's again because we updated some checklist. I noticed that they did put in for the reload, that is a no. And I'm going to save that, and Sky Slope is a no, and I'm going to save that. So now, if this was it for this file, I've created the new listing. I would, of course, then transfer that log, but I'm not ready to do that yet because this listing has sold. So the next step is to get the documents for the transaction over for this platform. So this active listing now has an accepted contract. I click accepted contract. I go to documents and I'm going to grab all of the documents that are pertaining to the cell. I know that last time I left off, or I started at the report, the MLS sheet. Just you have to remember where you left off. So I have those documents. I'm going to go to email. I'm going to paste in that email address. I'm going to say purchase documents and send. And I'm going to hope that I get my email sent successfully, and I did. All right, so now since we know that this takes a little while for those files to transfer, I'm going to switch over to adding in the transaction information. So I can see here, I need to update my checklist type to Illinois, our listing sold. I need to put in a sell price of $215. I need to, under source, I need to select whatever they have. And it says, is it office lead? I'm going to say no, because they said it was no. I need to put in the acceptance date. And I need to put in the closing date. And the price, 2049, 2049.81, all of the rest of the information is correct. And I'm going to go to next. And I'm going to go to next. I've already looked at my seller information. We did that originally. The next one is the purchase tenant. Purchase tenant. And I'm going to add in who the purchase tenant is. And I'm going to click save and click on title. Title. Now under title escrow, we need to put in something in this first one just because, and it's an issue that I'm working on to get resolved so that it doesn't block us from moving forward. So I'm going to save that one. And I'm going to scroll down, and in Illinois, almost everyone adds in who the attorney is. So there's three options there, title, escrow, and attorney. Whatever they added, you're going to add. If you want to copy and paste, all you need to do is click on the edit, and then you can do the copy paste. When you type in the zip code and enter, it will it will auto populate the city. But in this situation, 60527, it's not Willowbrook. So always check to make sure it's accurate. And we're going to copy the phone number. And we're going to copy that. We're going to save and save. The next one is the agent representing the other side. And I see that that is Ryan. And he is at O'Neill Group. And save. You need to take a look at lender and see if they have added a lender, see if they've added a home warranty or any miscellaneous content. At that point, you're going to click submit. And we need to verify the commission screen. So under commission, it's 215, 3, 2.5, 64.50. There is no transaction fee added in here. There may or may not be. The deposits, that is something that is new in this platform. So this will always be blank. And then we have a few other fields in here. I do frequently find that there's some additional commission information showing up on this platform. If you see it, then you would need to add it into here. At that point, we're going to go to submit and submit. So we've already transferred our documents. You see now that our checklist look very similar on both the old instance and the new instance. So I'm going to go to Documents and Documents, and I can see that they have assigned documents. So I'm going to go to the earnest money transaction. So the earnest money ones are a little tricky. It says earnest money deposit receipt, and you'll see that here there's 4 different ones for earnest money. So make sure you match what they have done. The transaction, that one is also the receipt. If by chance you saw that there was one document with the same name 4 or 5 different times, you can assign more than one document at a time. And report is the MLS printout. And that's a typical one where we may have more than one MLS printout. Now, as we go through this, there's a couple situations that I'll show you in a second. Let me do that pre-approval letter. So the radon. So when I go to assign and I type in radon, you'll see that there's 2 options for radon. One is the disclosure documentation, which means it is on the buyer side, and then the listing documentation. So again, if you hover over the paperclip, you'll see that the checklist item that it's assigned to is radon, not disclosure-radon. So now you can assign it to that. Residential real property, same thing. Make sure you pick the one that is for the right thing. And the sales contract. And that is it for the document assignments. So now we're going to go back to the checklist in the old and in the new, and we are going to go through and match whatever the old instance shows. And earnest money receipt is down. Let's see, earnest money receipt. Here we go. So it's not here, but I do recall assigning it. So it is here, which honestly is the right place for it, but I should have assigned it directly to just the label that said earnest money receipt. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. Now, if you accept something and it's wrong, you can unaccept it. And then when you hover over the paperclip, you see the documents, and you can click the X to unassign them. I'm going to actually leave that because it is the right way that I did it. And then I keep going, and here it says affiliated business arrangement, listing side. So I'm just going to type in listing side. You don't need to know why we do that, but, and I'm going to say not required, listing side, not required. And under reports, there's nothing there. Under disclosures, I'm going to accept because they did, and I'm going to accept. And we're good there. And then under closing documents, the earnest money deposit receipt was accepted. I explained that earlier. And that is completed for that listing that went to a pending status before it was added as an active listing into the system. So the final step that we need to, one of the final steps is this property is in a ready for TL review. I'm going to change that to a ready for TL review. Again, that's one of the items in our Excel document to update the status at the stage. And then I'm going to go into log. I'm going to email the log. I'm going to right click and copy that email address. I'm going to paste that in and I'm going to say log transferred. And I'm going to click send. Again, that's going to keep running while I'm finishing up what I have. And I need to find this transaction and there we go, 4317. So of course, I need to know what all my columns say, but I know that these are all done on 2/14. Everything was successfully done, but the additional step that was completed was that this did go to pending. So I need to add that one additional flag in there, changed to pending. So I changed the status, I added the listing documents, I transferred the log, I transferred the listing documents, dropped in the email address, and the date it was entered into SkySlope was on 2/14. So that is what it takes to do an active listing to pending status without it being added into the platform already.